Live from Chicago, this is Fox Chicago News at 9.
They just said, if you just listen to us and you'll be okay and nothing will happen.
A woman held hostage by 3 escapees from the Cook County Jail talks about her ordeal. And that story is first on Fox tonight. Good evening, everyone. I'm Robin Robinson.
And I'm Mark Sapelsa. That woman talks about one scary night. And we also hear from the guard charged in the escape. Craig Wall joins us with the latest on the county jail crisis. Craig.
Mark and Robin, Angie Parker was originally suspected of helping hide 3 of the escaped inmates, but tonight she tells me that is not the case at all. She described a very frightening ordeal where she says she feared for her life and the lives of her 5 children as 3 dangerous criminals held them hostage.
I was half asleep. I opened the door and these 3 guys just rushed in.
Angie Parker says her day of terror started around 9:30 Sunday morning when 3 escaped inmates tried to hide from police in her Cicero apartment.
And they're like, we just escaped from Cook County Jail. And I was like, get out, you gotta go, and they're like, well, we don't, there's nowhere else for us to go. And I'm like, you cannot stay here.
Parker was home with her 5 children and became especially worried, she says, when the sheriff's SWAT team arrived some 10 hours later and surrounded the apartment. She says at one point she tried to unlock her door so police could get in, but Tyrone Everhart caught her doing that.
He hit me and he grabbed me on my arm and, he pushed me and then I kind of fell over and he was like, that's not a good idea. You need to go sit down with your kids.
Prosecutors charged guard Darren Gator with numerous felonies for allegedly helping the 3 inmates escape. He has now resigned and is free after posting bond.
One thing I want to say is I'm innocent. I just want to get home to my family. I'm tired, I'm hungry, and that's it. That's all I want to say right now.
Sheriff's investigators say Gator gave a handwritten confession saying he helped the inmates escape to help sheriff's candidate Richard Remus win the election. Gator claims the confession was coerced, and Remus responded with this startling announcement on Fox Chicago News in the morning.
If Darren Gator would go that far to help my campaign, then I would have to get out of this race immediately.
The investigation has now revealed that Gator failed a lie detector test and claimed at one point his motive was not politics, but the promise of $50,000 to aid in the escape. The sheriff says none of it makes any sense.
It's still, as far as I'm concerned, it's still a hard thing to believe that he would do this to himself, his family, and to his profession.
Darren Gator is not the only one charged in this case. The brother and sister of one of the escaped inmates also now have been charged with helping them flee here from the jail and for providing them with Angie Parker's address as a place where they might go and try to hide out. Live at the Cook County Jail, Craig Wall, Fox Chicago News.
All right, Craig, thanks. And the man who tipped off police to the escape plot tells Fox Chicago News he feels he did do the right thing.
Reed Paris got into a fight on Saturday, later told police at the hospital about the pending escape.
I just wish I hadn't been involved in that fight Saturday, and I wish in a way that I just didn't know nothing about nothing. And I'm just glad that it's over with.
Paris says he'd got into a fight with the brother of one of the escapees. He says he's surprised that the officer took him seriously.
Well, another big story tonight. Cold, sleet, snow making a comeback.
Let's go to Rick DeMaio for a first look at the weather. Rick.
How you doing, Robin and Mark? Let's get straight to the weather maps, which shows exactly where the winter weather advisories are, all the way from Moline up through Rockford, much of Chicago, including southern sections of Wisconsin. But north of that, winter storm warnings up for as much as a foot of snow, which could fall over the next 24 to 48 hours. Here's the radar. The stuff in purple, that's the light snow, and the stuff in pink, that's a little bit of mixture of sleet and freezing rain. And just to the south of us, it's basically all rain. But when we zoom in on some of the local temperatures across the area, readings currently only around 32 from Algonquin to about Schaumburg, so probably some icing conditions up there. But just to the south of the city, temperatures a few ticks above freezing. So big questions. Steady snow and sleet to the north, accumulation expected, but how will the morning rush hour be? We'll have all the information you need to know coming up in just a few minutes. Mark?
Rick, silence broken. Vice President Dick Cheney came out of hiding today to explain what happened Saturday when he shot his friend in a hunting accident. Harry Whittington recovering after heart complications from the shooting. Here's Mr. Cheney in an exclusive interview with Fox News Channel.
Bird flushed and went to my right, off to the west. I turned and shot at the bird, and at that second saw Harry standing there. Didn't know he was there.
You had pulled the trigger and you saw him.
Well, I saw him fall, basically. He was laying there on his back, obviously, bleeding. You could see where the shot had struck him. And one of the fortunate things was that I've always got a medical team, in effect, covering me wherever I go. I had a physician's assistant with me that day, and within a minute or two, he was on the scene administering first aid. Ultimately, I'm the guy who pulled the trigger that fired the round that hit Harry. And you can talk about all of the other conditions that existed at the time, but that's the bottom line. And there's no, it was not Harry's fault. You can't blame anybody else. I'm the guy who pulled the trigger and shot my friend. And it was, I'd have to say, one of the worst days of my life. We really didn't know until Sunday morning that Harry was probably going to be okay, that it looked like there hadn't been any serious damage to any vital organ. And that's when we began the process of notifying the press.
You must have recognized, though, with all your experience in Washington, that this was going to be a big story. Did it occur to you that sooner was, I mean, as a rule, sooner is better?
Well, if it's accurate.
But there were some things you knew. I mean, you knew the man had been shot, you knew he was injured, you knew he was in the hospital, and you knew you'd shot him. Understood. Now, the suspicion grows in some quarters that this was an attempt to minimize it.
There wasn't any way this was going to be minimized, Brett, but it was important that it be accurate. I do think what I've experienced over the years here in Washington is as the media outlets have proliferated, speed has become sort of a driving force, lots of times at the expense of accuracy. And I wanted to make sure we got it as accurate as possible.
And the shooting is the subject of tonight's Voice Your Choice. Our question, is the media making too much of the Cheney shooting story? If your answer is yes, please call 1-900-988-5276. If your answer is no, 1-900-988-5277. Call will cost you 75 cents. We ask that you be over the age of 18 to call in. We'll show you the numbers, phone numbers again in a few minutes, and the results toward the end of our newscast.
The head of George Ryan's defense team says it's going to be a last-minute decision whether the former governor testifies or not, but it will not happen this week no matter what. Defense lawyer Dan Webb says if Ryan takes the stand, he'll be the last witness. He says the trial will not reach that point until next Tuesday at the earliest. An officer with Chicago's aviation police found a small fortune today, actually a pretty big fortune. Officer Donald Witowitz posing with a colleague and a package that has $320,000 of cash in it. The officer was patrolling Midway Airport in his car. He says he noticed the package along 63rd Street. After a quick investigation, he learned the Federal Reserve was shipping it from Washington to Chicago and that a cargo carrier had somehow lost it.
I just did what the city of Chicago pays me for. I investigated it and had the money returned to the proper parties.
Exactly how the money wound up by the side of the road, or what the odds are that a cop would find it. Anyway, police are still trying to figure it all out.
Big changes promised by Cardinal Francis George. He's asking an outside auditor to tell him what went wrong in the handling of the sex abuse allegations against a priest. Lilia Chacon, live now in the newsroom with the latest on the church sex abuse scandal. Lil.
Mark, Cardinal George has admitted he made a mistake leaving Father Dan McCormack where he might sexually abuse children. That is one reason he's naming his chancellor of 6 years, Jimmy Legault, to oversee future investigations. Church officials know they've run out of second chances.
We can't buy credibility, and so we're just going to have to prove it for the future.
In his 6 years as Archdiocese Chancellor, Jimmy Legault says he's refused to varnish the truth no matter how unpleasant it was for the Cardinal.
My job has always been seen as to tell him what he needs to hear, not what he wants to hear.
Now the Cardinal is giving Legault the authority to make sure investigations are thorough and information is shared, or there will be consequences. In a letter to parishes, the Cardinal said Legault will recommend disciplinary actions in cases where policy or practice is violated. Legault is also bringing in an outside agency headed by a former FBI special agent, Dan Deffenbaugh, to figure out what went wrong with the investigation into allegations against Father Dan McCormack. Legault's promising an independent review that will have unrestricted access to all of those involved. Critics question the Cardinal's commitment to punishing abusive priests and call the moves more of the same.
Cardinal George always has had the power to promptly remove suspected abusers. He hasn't used it. Regardless of the promises he makes, he'll keep siding with the accused over the accuser.
Others say the continuing scandals are taking a toll on the priests themselves.
The Cardinal has to understand that for every one of these guys he covers up for, there's 10 good priests out there, who are really, really suffering.
Father McCormack was allowed to stay on at St. Agatha's on the west side until he was arrested and charged by police. 2 civil suits have also been filed against the church by alleged victims. As for Legault, he is a layperson, married and a father of 2. Live in the newsroom, Lilia Chacon, Fox Chicago News.
Thank you, Lilia. A 13-year-old boy from the west side says Chicago police officers handcuffed and beat him. His family has filed a lawsuit. Anthony Thomas says he got these gashes when police dragged him and kicked him in the ribs. He says he was going to meet his brother after school on January 26th when police chased him in their car. Thomas says the officers put him in handcuffs and started hitting him when he could not give them information on gangs in the neighborhood. His family says 5 officers were involved.
These police officers are cruel. They don't treat our kids like they would treat normal kids.
He's just leaving school. He's in the 7th grade. There's no reason that I can even conceive of why 5 police officers would attack a child.
Thomas has identified 2 of the 5 officers and the license plate of 1 police car that supposedly was involved. An internal police investigation is also underway.
There's a mother's heartbreak and a murder mystery in Chicago tonight.
An 11-year-old boy killed inside his family's home. Relatives talk about the sweet child taken so violently.
I'm Darlene Hill outside a very popular hot spot on the city's south side. Take a look at what happened out here earlier this morning. Flames ripped through Mr. G's. The fire destroyed more than a building. It destroyed a cultural gym over here where people could enjoy music, mingling, and stepping. I'll have that story in just a couple of minutes in a live report.
Also tonight, the ultimate dream house with a price tag to match.
But I did present it to Goldie Hawn.
Did you?
Yes, I did, and she absolutely fell for it.
Yet even a movie star like Goldie passed on the palatial mansion in the northern suburbs. Could it have been the asking price? We'll get to that, plus take a tour later on Fox Chicago News.
You're watching Fox Chicago News at 9.
Fox Chicago News is brought to you by U.S. Cellular.
You know, with most wireless companies, you get charged for incoming calls. So say this door is your cell phone and all these people are incoming calls. Watch. Charge. 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 Now watch what happens with U.S. Cellular. No charge, no charge, no charge, no charge.
With free Call Me Minutes, there's no charge for calls received in your local calling area. U.S. Cellular. We connect with you. Right now, get the Motorola Razr V3C for only $99.95.
Star for star. Power for power. Turn for turn. At GMC, every Envoy is engineered to the highest standard by any measure, even dollar for dollar. Compare for yourself at Kelley Blue Book's KBB.com. See how engineering to the highest standard is setting a new standard.
Homer gets cloned and faces his own worst enemy.
We're out of donuts!
The Simpsons.
Tonight at 10 on Fox Chicago.
Official government records confirm Judy Bart Topinka supports bigger government. As treasurer, she doubled spending in her office, sponsored a multi-million-dollar sales tax increase. She even supported billions in new debt, more spending, more taxes, more debt. Topinka, more of the same when it's time for a change.
Ron Gidwitz's vision for our schools. Innovative classrooms, increased accountability, true reform. Leadership we can trust for a change.
Sure, the Nissan Altima is attractive, but we just turned up the heat. Introducing the 2006 Nissan Altima with the Special Edition package. 14 of our most popular options. Now, lease the Nissan Altima with the Special Edition package for $209 per month. $209 per month. Did it just get hot in here?
A 3-alarm fire on the south side. Flames could be seen burning right through the roof this morning. And a once popular supper club is not much more than bricks and ashes tonight. But the memories endure for the thousands of people who partied and practiced there, because for years, Mr. G's has been one of the spots for Southside steppers. Darlene Hill joins us now live with more on the fire and the memories. Dar?
Well, Robin, the roof is completely gone, and the bricks, well, they've already started to fall. And as they pile up here in the parking lot, the investigation into what happened here at Mr. G's is already underway.
It was a home away from home.
This is how most people on Chicago's South Side will remember Mr. G's Supper Club. Every weekend, the club near 87th and Ashland would host big parties called stepper sets. Chicago notables like Bernie Mac and comedian Red would hang out at Mr. G's until the wee hours.
Mr. G was a fun place, a place where you can go and relax and have a cocktail and dance and have dinner.
That was before Wednesday morning, when flames destroyed the home of so many memories. Flames so high and hot, they surrounded crews trying to put them out.
Once they forced entry into the building, they realized that we had a fire up in the ceiling.
Firefighters managed to get out just before the roof caved in. No one was injured in the fire, and it did not jump to any other buildings. Investigators say it started in the roof, but they still don't know how. As for Rose Wellington, she hopes the owner rebuilds so she can again hit the floor at the neighborhood spot.
Didn't have to go downtown or out of town. You can go right over at Mr. G's Supper Club.
Neighbors and business owners say they didn't mind the stepper set. It was the occasional exotic dance parties that they say they didn't like. And if the club comes back, they hope those parties don't. Reporting live from the South Side, Darlene Hill, Fox Chicago News. Back to you guys in the studio.
All right, Dar, thank you. Guns, knives, and hand grenades, all in a house near a Chicago grade school. Enough, they say, for a small army. Police found it in a raid on the southwest side. Check it out. The place was a stone's throw from St. Nicholas Catholic School, where they found 300 guns, 6 hand grenades. They arrested a 63-year-old man. Officers say the focus of the investigation is the sale of illegal weapons. A memorial to honor the first Chicago police officer killed in the line of duty. Officer Eric Soliaro died this weekend after his squad car ran into a tree in a building several weeks ago while he was with his partner in a pursuit. At Blake Lamb Funeral Home this evening, more than 100 officers lined up to pay their respects. Funeral services will be held tomorrow at Holy Cross Church.
What would drive anyone to stab to death an 11-year-old boy in his family's home? That's at the center of a mystery on Chicago's West Side tonight, a mystery and a tragedy. Byron Harlan has our report.
It's impossible for anyone who knew 11-year-old Clay Ether to understand what happened to him.
He was a nice little boy, you know. He was CJ. You know, that's my nephew, and we just trying to find out what happened so that at least we can put an end to it.
His young life came to a violent end inside his family's home. Someone got inside and stabbed him. His mother saw her wounded son and called a sister.
She was screaming, crying, very hysterical, and said that CJ came into her room and said that somebody stabbed him.
His mom asked him who did it. He was unable to say.
He fell, and she said that she locked the bedroom door because at this point she didn't know if somebody was in her house and if they was going to come and get her, and she immediately dialed 911.
CJ died at Loyola Hospital in Maywood. He was finishing the 6th grade at Emmett Elementary School, where his mother worked with students for years. She took them to the museum or the park on outings outside the classroom. The school was part of an extended family.
We're very close, and I can't imagine trying to explain this to our children here.
That's exactly what she has to do, because school staff and counselors will speak with children at Emmett Elementary about this tragic aspect of life. Byron Harlan, Fox Chicago News.
Police in Maywood are investigating a shooting that left an 18-year-old woman dead. Amanda Gallen and 2 men were found shot in a parked car overnight. The 2 men survived and they remain in the hospital. Police say a group of people in another car drove up next to them and opened fire. So far, no suspects and no motive for the shooting. It's a difficult subject, but it's one more families probably need to discuss: teen suicide.
Tonight we hear from grieving parents and a teenager who's come close to the edge.
You just
have this feeling where it hurts to breathe. It hurts to just walk. It hurts so much.
Teens in pain. What's the solution? We look at a new program aiming to save lives.
Also ahead, he thrilled Chicago fans for years. Will we ever see Sammy Sosa in a baseball uniform again? Now, stay with us for Fox Chicago Sports.
We're seeing some snow and sleet. Check out the radar. It's coming down pretty good across the northern suburbs. Are they going to get hit the hardest? We have the answer coming back in about 10 minutes.
We're giving you $1,000. It only happens once a year. Now get $1,000 auto show bonus cash on many new Fords, on top of current incentives like 0% finance.
Whoa!
And we'll also pick up your first month's payment.
No way.
Plus, get to your local Ford store now and register to win one of 10 all-new Ford Fusions. An extra $1,000 bonus cash, 0% financing, and no first month's payment. Plus, register to win one of 10 Fusions at your local Ford store today.
Yes! What's up? I'm trying to figure out my budget. Got $200 for rent, $29 for my cell, $19 for gas.
Sounds about right.
$14 for a new CD.
Screaming babies.
Which leaves me $1 a day for lunch.
More than enough.
Now do Wendy's quarter-pound double-stack cheeseburger with 2 patties of beef, fresh toppings, and American cheese for just 99 cents.
Actually, I got a penny left.
What are you going to do with that?
Mutual fund.
Right. Only Wendy's has the quarter-pound double-stack for just 99 cents every day. Do Wendy's. Do what tastes right.
Hey, Oscar, here's your lunch.
Reese talks trash to the wrong guy.
I didn't see this coming.
Next, Malcolm in the Middle.
Tonight at 10:30 on Fox Chicago.
Chicken tikka masala, aloo gobi, and a pilau rice, please.
1 chicken tikka masala, 1 pilau rice, 1 aloo gobi. Pick up or delivery? Hello? Pick up or delivery? Hello?
My fast things delivery is for the weak.
The 200 horsepower GTI. Make friends with your fast.
At Value City Furniture, we're celebrating President's Weekend with incredible savings in every department.
Right now, you can have this elegant 6-piece all-wood bedroom package for just $9.99. You save one-half.
Or choose this 6-piece wood and metal bedroom for the same low price of $9.99 and save over half.
And while they last, pick up a great-looking 4-drawer chest for just $29.
Don't miss the President's Weekend sale through Monday at Value City Furniture.
High quality, low prices.
For the first time, parents of a 13-year-old Winnetka girl who committed suicide are speaking out in a television interview.
Yeah, they're coming forward with a message and a mission to save other young people. They're hoping all of us will listen in.
Here's medical reporter Margaret Shortridge.
Well, Mark and Robin, the parents of this North Shore girl, hope that no other family goes through what they went through. They're calling for education about mental health issues for parents and children. Their goal, destigmatize suicide and save lives.
I think that we will always miss her. Erica was a beautiful child. She was loved by a lot of people.
Erica Newcast got good grades, had lots of friends, and at 13, this Washburn Middle School student had a bright future. But like 1 out of every 8 teens, she kept something secret.
Our daughter Erica suffered from depression, and she took her life about 20 months ago. And it really is incomprehensible for us to understand the kind of pain that you have to be in to need to get out of it.
You just have this feeling where it hurts to breathe. It hurts to just walk. It hurts so much that there's nothing more than you want for all this pain to go away.
18-year-old Phoenix Elliott understands. She attempted suicide in a stairwell at Winnetka's New Trier High School a few years ago.
I began to cut myself, hoping that I would do it the right way so I would die. The real reason why I did it at school, which a lot of people ask, is because I didn't want my mom to be the first one to find me dead.
2 million kids in the U.S. attempt suicide each year, and 2,000 succeed. It's been a problem for years, but now psychiatrists and parents are calling for a new approach.
Mental illness, depression, bipolar illness, psychotic disorders, these should be part of the regular vocabulary.
Most kids who attempt suicide have a mental illness. The problem? They don't go for help. They don't know where to turn or can't understand what they're feeling.
When you're feeling suicidal, you are not thinking of anybody else. You are not thinking of your family. You are not thinking of your best friend.
And when you're a 14-year-old girl, it's very, very difficult for observers, parents, or anybody to figure out if this is normal mood swings or if this is something more serious.
Plus, those who work with at-risk kids say we're afraid to talk about it, and we shouldn't be.
I think it's still out there that people feel that if you ask somebody about suicide, you're going to make it worse.
Now there's a website called No Such Thing as Crazy. It speaks to kids about depression and other critical issues. Dr. Fred Miller created it.
My biggest message to teens and their families would be get help earlier rather than later.
The Newcast's agree and want to see mental health taught in the classroom.
If we take it to a school level and there's a common ground where we're all learning the same kind of information.
Thanks to their efforts, a program called Red Flags, already widely used in Ohio, is being taught in several North Shore middle schools. The hope, teaching it statewide.
We want to get across the message that it's an illness, it's very common, you're not alone, it's very treatable.
There's always something to live for. Regardless of what's happened today, there's always tomorrow.
Now, the Newcast's also founded Erica's Lighthouse, an organization to raise money and awareness about adolescent depression. They say that Erica would have wanted them to do this since she was always helping people. There's a lot of programs out there for drugs and alcohol. Kids seem well aware of that, and they just want people to talk about depression, give kids the emotional vocabulary.
Well, it's only recently that we've started to recognize depression as a medical disorder in adults. So in children or in teenagers, we don't want to overreact. It's very hard as a parent or even a person who knows teenagers to know what's normal mood swings and what's something that should be clinically approached.
But the important thing to remember is that these kids, unlike adults, do not have the experiences themselves to know if this is a normal thing that they're going through right now or if this is a severe depression. So you really have to educate them in this way, and then they'll be able to make it through it, is what the Newcast's are saying.
All right, thanks, Margaret. Very interesting.
All right, it's snowing tonight. Rick DeMaio tells you where and how much and all that sort of stuff.
Also ahead, was the White House out of touch during Hurricane Katrina? A new showdown on Capitol Hill.
And American Idol, winning the gold where it counts. Shameless self-promotion from us ahead.
Fox Chicago News is brought to you by Toyota.
Introducing the all-new, bigger RAV4 with an available 269 horsepower V6. You're ready for whatever the road throws at you.
The Yankees think George is dead.
Aren't you going to tell your parents you're still alive?
Oh, they could use the break. Next, Seinfeld.
Tonight at 11 on Fox Chicago.
Tomorrow, 4 years in college could cost you up to $200,000 in Illinois. Dr. J will have tips on how to find scholarships. And, we love soul food, but it can be bad for you. We'll show you how to keep the soul while losing the fat. Plus, our David Vigiano goes one-on-one with American Idol's Lucky 24. That's tomorrow on Fox News in the Morning.
48 hours to save, 48 months to pay. Get free interest for up to 48 months. Friday through President's Day at Wix Furniture. Zero money down, zero minimum purchase, zero interest till 2010. Plus, take $100 off any room package or $50 off any single item. All with next day delivery from Wix. 48 hours to save, 48 months to pay.
A ticket to the auto show gets you a glimpse of America's hottest products, but we've got your ticket to ride. At your local Dodge, Chrysler, and Jeep dealers, get behind the wheel of the powerful Dodge Charger, Chrysler 300C, or the all-new Jeep Commander. 0% financing is back. 0% APR financing for 60 months on select vehicles, plus $500 auto show bonus cash, and drive off the lot in a Dodge Durango, Chrysler Town & Country, Dodge Caravan, or Jeep Liberty. Find what you want at the auto show. Drive what you want at your local dealer. But hurry, offer ends soon.
A new problem for McDonald's and its fries, and Pam Anderson is cooking up a new protest. First Kentucky Fried Chicken, now the Kentucky Derby. Here's Neil Cavuto with Your World in Business.
Ben speaks and stocks gain. The Dow picking up 30 points, the Nasdaq 14. Ben Bernanke delivering his first economic report card to Congress. The new Fed boss leaving the door open to still more interest rate hikes. After the bell, Hewlett-Packard posting profits that beat the street on strong PC and printer sales. And the defense painting a one-time ally of former Enron executive Jeff Skilling as an out-of-touch manager. Ken Rice testifying against Skilling, who faces fraud and conspiracy charges. McDonald's is being sued. A North Carolina woman says that she found blood inside a bag of French fries. A manager told her that it came from an injured worker. And Fox's American Idol blowing away the Winter Games on NBC. Preliminary figures show 26 million viewers watched Idol compared to 16 million watching the Olympics on Tuesday. Pamela Anderson is boycotting the Kentucky Derby. Anderson says that it's cruel to force horses to race for our amusement. That's business. I'm Neil Cavuto.
Homeland Security Secretary Michael Chertoff admits the federal government dropped the ball in responding to Hurricane Katrina. His testimony to a Senate committee came on the same day a House committee put out a scathing report that tore into local, state, and federal officials, everybody. While Chertoff fessed up to mistakes, he denied the feds were out of touch with the realities in New Orleans.
I have to say that the idea that this department and this administration and the president were somehow detached from Katrina is simply not correct.
Somebody didn't tell the president that he's got a FEMA director who is way over his head, who has failed to respond to the needs of the people in the city. All of America knows that. And it seemed the only people that didn't know were the White House and Homeland Security.
And then at one point right there, a heckler stands up behind Chertoff complaining about FEMA's decision to stop paying for evacuees' hotel rooms this week.
Rick DeMaio here with a look at the weather, which is changing as we speak.
Yeah, and it all depends on where you are. Northern suburbs seeing some snow and some sleet here in the city. Just some sleet, but down to the south, mainly rain. But look what's going to happen across parts of the Plain States, something that hasn't occurred in about 3 months. That's right, a massive snowstorm, maybe 6 to 12 inches in some locations, a foot or more in some places across northern sections of Wisconsin and Michigan. And a lot of people haven't been enjoying the snow are going to enjoy it this weekend because it looks like the stuff is going to stick around. Snow tonight, rain tomorrow, and then brutally cold weather for the upcoming weekend. Look at the way the heavier snow will just going to be north of Chicago, places like Des Moines, up into about Madison, Wisconsin, maybe Grand Rapids and Traverse City. But as we zoom in even a little bit closer, we're thinking maybe about 1 to 2 inches, particularly the north side of the city, as much as 3 to 4 from about Rockford, just to the north of the Illinois-Wisconsin state line, so maybe as much as 4 or 5 inches around Milwaukee. And once you get northward into Madison, La Crosse, and up and around Green Bay, anywhere between 8 to as much as 12 inches could come down by later on tonight and into Thursday afternoon as well. If you're traveling anywhere north and west of Chicago over the next 24 hours, don't do it because probably some blizzard conditions will take place as this winter storm is really going to get going. Consequently, we are under a winter weather advisory, but to the north of that, look at all the areas shaded in red. Those are winter storm warnings, and when you see that on the weather map, basically it means stay put because the weather is going to get pretty bad very, very quickly. Notice the way the precipitation is basically all rain, generally south of about Interstate 80. That's that line right in through here. So it's raining at Kankakee, raining at Gary, raining at Valparaiso. This little strip of purple here, that's a mixture of rain, sleet, and also some wet snow. To the north of that is basically all snow, but we do think it's going to be mainly light snow with the higher accumulations across northern sections of Lake and McHenry County. But the good news is that this is all going to turn over to rain, so the morning rush hour is basically going to be just some wet roadways. So some good news there. Currently 28 at Rockford, 34 at O'Hare, 35 at Midway, 37 at Kankakee, and only 21 up in Madison. So you can see very quickly by this temperature map where the heavier snow is going to lie. Watch the way the computer model does a pretty good job with the rain to the south, the snow to the north of us. This is early tomorrow morning. We'll still have some light snow over us, but I do think the bulk of this is going to be moving off to the east just in time for the beginning of the morning rush hour. It turns to all rain during a day on Thursday, but look where the heavy snow continues across much of southern and central sections of Wisconsin. It's all out of here by early Friday morning. In its wake, though, some incredibly cold air, some of the chilliest temperatures we've seen around here basically all winter. Bottom line, 3 to 4 inches Lake and McHenry County, 1 to 2 here in the city. Steady rain, though, from midway south, and temperatures tomorrow in the 40s in some locations. All the snow here in Chicago, if it does come down, will basically melt. A look at Friday, a high of only 15 to 20. That's what happens when you have all that snow on the ground to the north of us, and overall temperatures remaining on the cool side right through the upcoming weekend. So down to the south of us, just some wet stuff. Up to the north of us, very white and very cold.
But if it's wet and it's 15 degrees, it's going to be the icy, isn't it?
I think we'll probably dry all that stuff out before it turns to ice.
I hope so. Thanks, Rick.
Well, most of us have been to open houses, but how about open palatial mansions?
You have to be a real looky-loo. Well, this old movie called Chain Reaction was filmed inside a North suburban mansion. That mansion's now up for sale, and it's got a record-setting price. So is it worth it? We're going to let you judge for yourself.
Hi, I'm Jill Carlson. Thanks to the White Sox, the Cubs admit the pressure's on them as pitchers and catchers report to spring training. I'll have an update from Arizona later in sports.
Fox Chicago News is brought to you by your Chicagoland Chevy dealers.
Some live for the spotlight. Chicago lives in it. And during the Chicago Auto Show, all eyes will be on Chevy. Get a low mileage lease on an 06 Trailblazer LS 4-wheel drive for around $259 a month. Residency restrictions apply. Call for details. And Trailblazer has more overall interior room and greater cargo volume than Toyota 4Runner or Jeep Grand Cherokee. Chevy, America's #1 brand, America's #1 value. See your Chicagoland and Northwest Indiana Chevy dealers.
Menards is the place where you'll always save big money. Give your kitchen classic style with a durable Elger cast iron sink. The Dumont in white is $99 after rebate. The risotto with an extra large bowl is $129 after rebate. Right now, all in stock Delta kitchen faucets are on sale. This stainless steel finish model with sprayer is $89. This chrome high arc model with sprayer is only $109. Service, quality, selection. Menards.
Save big money at Menards. How to plan the perfect dinner party.
It's going to be a buffet.
Buffet! On the next Frasier.
Tonight at 11:30 on Fox Chicago.
I want to know why you're doing this, and I want to know now!
Firewall is a thriller that works. Thumbs up. Change of plans. Harrison Ford is back with a bang. I'm done talking. Firewall, rated PG-13. Now playing.
First rule of business, never get emotional. But with most laptops, the rules don't apply. Panasonic Toughbooks are engineered to survive the daily grind of business. They're reliable so you keep on working. Wireless so you stay connected. Panasonic Toughbooks, powered by Intel Centrino mobile technology. Panasonic, ideas for life.
Saab was founded by 16 aircraft engineers. Their expertise in pilot safety inspires us to build a safer car. The Saab 9.3 Sports Sedan, the only midsize luxury car, awarded the Top Safety Pick Gold Award for front, side, and rear crashes by the IIHS. When you used to build jets, you don't build just another car. Saab, born from jets. Take off in the Saab 9.3 Sports Sedan with $500 auto show bonus cash today.
We treat small business like nobody else's business. U.S. Cellular, we connect with you.
Fox Chicago News is brought to you by U.S. Cellular Business Solutions.
You're watching Fox Chicago News at 9.
There's a man charged with driving under the influence and reckless homicide, an accident that killed a 10-year-old girl. 23-year-old Thomas Fisher being held on a $500,000 bond. Police say Fisher crashed his van into 2 cars Sunday afternoon in New Lenox. Inside one of the cars was a family of 5 from Morris. Among them, 10-year-old Verdania Lopez. All 5 members of the family were taken to the hospital. The girl died of her injuries. The girl's family has decided to donate her organs. The donations will help save the lives of 8 people, we're told.
Governor Blagojevich fired the first shot in the annual budget battle in this state with a tantalizing combination: no tax increases and more money for education, including Chicago schools. Sounds great, but Republicans say the numbers don't add up. Nancy Pender reports.
No new taxes. That was the promise Governor Blagojevich renewed as he rolled out a long list of programs in his new budget. At the center of the $55.5 billion plan is his proposal to provide preschool for all 3- and 4-year-olds in the state.
We know preschool works. We know it pays off. We also know that the cost of private preschool is often out of reach for too many families.
The preschool plan is part of an additional $400 million for education. $100 million of that is planned for Chicago public schools. School leaders say that money won't save the more than 400 teaching jobs slated for elimination.
The cuts we're cutting right now, we're going to have to do, even if we get the $100 million. If we get less than $100 million, the cuts could get worse.
The governor's also calling for new prisons to be built, $100 million to be spent on stem cell research, and the sale of the 10th casino license to help fund state workers' pensions. But one state workers' union says the governor's pension proposal isn't enough.
Its pension benefits are less than average of other states. This problem comes about from the failure to properly fund the program.
Republicans question how he plans to pay for everything.
We have to borrow money to pay our people. That's wrong. And to start new programs when you can't pay your bills is simply wrong.
But despite that opposition, the budget is expected to pass. Nancy Pender, Fox Chicago News.
Well, speaking of cash, there's a lot of money on the line tonight around the country.
I'd like to win that. More than $400 million, even if you've never played the lottery. You might want to think about not one, but 2 tempting jackpots.
And you may need one of those jackpots to pay for this house. Yep. Coming up, we'll take you inside the most expensive home ever put up for sale in Illinois. Mark Saxonmeyer's Fox Focus is next.
Thursday at 9 on Fox Chicago News. It's Freebie Thursday. These women are attending a spa party.
You hear the word free, you're like, yeah, of course.
And the cosmetic services they're receiving are free.
It doesn't hurt? No.
How do they do it? Fox Chicago News shows you how to enjoy a day at the spa without spending a single cent. And for our lucky Fox viewers, we'll throw in a bonus. It's Freebie Thursdays, only on Fox Chicago News at 9, where local coverage comes first.
This is Principal Turner. Due to the inclement weather, we are closing schools.
Settle down. It'll be a while before your parents can get through.
The all-wheel drive RX at your Chicago area Lexus dealer.
Hey, Mom, I know you're going to be disappointed, but I'm not going to be able to make it home.
Come on, it's your birthday.
But I have 2 papers that I have to do.
Well, you have my chase card if you decide to fly home.
No, Mom, sorry.
You'll be there when I look around.
Chase email alerts keep you on top of your checking account.
Don't pull up right in front of the house.
Show me that you're mine, girl. All right.
Email alerts to keep you prepared for life's little surprises. Your choice, your Chase.
Geraldo at Large, Florida. She says The Sopranos stole her real-life stories, but will her case hit home?
Tonight at midnight on Fox Chicago.
Hundreds of automobile brands are sold in Chicago, but only one is built here, Ford. The 2006 Ford 500, built in Chicago, for Chicago, where we make the only four-door sedan to earn the highest safety rating from both the government and the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety. Get into a new 2006 Ford 500 for only $279 a month with no first month's payment, plus the convenience of a free remote starter. Ford 500, built in Chicago, built for the road ahead.
For a change.
Best in class, 3 years in a row. Restyled inside and out. Trust me, you've never driven a sedan like this. Plus, it comes in a 5-door and sport wagon. It also comes with 4-wheel.
Honey, this is Alex. Why don't we let him do his job?
Hi.
People are getting the message. Mazda 6 marks the end of the boring sedan. Now during the auto show, get $3,000 cash back, plus you may qualify for an additional $750 Mazda American Credit Cash. Get to your Chicagoland, Northwest Indiana Mazda dealer today.
Fox Chicago News is brought to you by Comcast.
Now the results of tonight's Voice Your Choice. Our question, is the media, us, making too much of the Cheney shooting story? You folks need to stop being wishy-washy. 81% say yes, the media is making too much of the story. 19% say no. Thanks for letting us know what you think tonight. Other news, new pictures of the abuse at Iraq's Abu Ghraib prison have surfaced.
That story tops our news brief tonight. A few of the pictures are tame enough that we can show them on television. Most of them are not. Some actually show corpses. They are not new pictures, but an Australian television network recently got its hands on the photos. Will not say how. The pictures come from the same time period as photos we've already seen. Several show specialist Charles Grainer, who is now, of course, in prison for the scandal.
A panel that advises the Environmental Protection Agency says a chemical used to make Teflon should be considered, quote, likely to cause cancer. Teflon, as we all know, used in non-stick pans for years. The chemical in question caused liver cancer and other problems in lab animals. The effect of lower doses on humans still unknown. DuPont, the maker of Teflon, the inventor, says its product is safe.
Well, somebody out there could become $300 million richer tonight. That's the jackpot for the Powerball lottery played in Indiana, Wisconsin, so all around us, but not here. It's also in 26 other states. The drawing is tonight, and it's not the only big prize. In Mega Millions, the multi-state lottery that is played in Illinois, nobody won the jackpot last night, so it is up to $145 million. And you have more time to get your ticket for that because the drawing's not till Friday.
Going tonight, got about 16 minutes. If you did win, head on right over to Lake Forest because we've got a bargain for you. It's a 96-year-old Georgian colonial revival mansion. Actually, it's in Lake Bluff.
It's
I'm sorry.
old.
Yeah. The most expensive home ever put up for sale in Illinois and in the entire Midwest, actually. All yours for $25 million. Here's Mark Saxenmar to take us on a tour of tonight's Fox Focus.
Gonna buy me a mansion, gonna buy me a mansion, yes I am.
This is it.
This is it. This is nice.
Welcome to Lansdowne.
That's what they call it, huh?
This is what they call it. It was named after an estate in England. This is the library. This is the landing. This is the breakfast room.
The dining room, correct?
Down the dual flying staircase.
It's very South Fork, Dallas.
Yes.
So what do you get for $25 million? Well, for starters, a 14,000 square foot home with 11 bedrooms and 9.5 bathrooms. You get a swimming pool, tennis courts, a coach house, and 21 acres of lakefront property, including this polo field.
Lansdowne was built in 1910 for the head of the map and atlas company, Rand McNally. The man who designed it, architect Benjamin Marshall, who is also credited with creating the Drake Hotel, the Blackstone Hotel, and the Blackstone Theater, and for configuring Lakeshore Drive.
From every single room in this home, you see either the lake or you see the polo field.
A field General George Patton once played on. In fact, the first official game of polo ever played in the Midwest was played here. Lansdowne has been on the market for 4 years, but been shown to only a few people.
I did present it to Goldie Hawn.
Did you?
Yes, I did, and she absolutely fell for it.
She didn't buy it, but Hollywood has featured Lansdowne in movies like Chain Reaction.
Nice house.
And Kissing a Fool.
This room is very definitely Parisian. It originally came from a Maharaja's palace in India. Coffered Art Deco ceiling, and it's more of an English feel, very typical of the turn of the century. It's called Japanism.
When the current owners, the Friedman family, moved in 21 years ago, Lansdowne was rather run down. They bought it, hold on to your hats, for just under $2 million. A steal of a deal.
They poured millions into this. They pulled out all the floors. They put in air conditioning.
And much, much more. LePeau says today the $25 million price tag is also a relative steal, considering that just recently a nearby lakefront property sold for $13 million, and it sits on only 2 acres of land.
Gonna buy me a mansion, yes I am.
You see the statue of Neptune beckoning to us to come and jump in the lake.
It may seem outlandish for the average person, but it's worth it.
Dan Moore showcases Lansdowne and other luxury homes through his company InsideDreamHomes.com.
There are many other homes on the lakefront that were built in the same era that this house was built that no longer exist.
Both Moore and LePeau say the Friedmans fear they'll have no choice but to sell to developers who have no interest in preserving the history here. Lansdowne would be torn down and the property subdivided.
They're pretty much ready to go with whomever comes along.
Which is sad.
Which is very, very sad. Again, $25 million is just a listing price, so I would say come in with your offers.
In Lake Bluff, with the Fox Focus, Mark Saxonmeyer, Fox Chicago News.
Ron and Pat Friedman were a little camera shy, didn't want to be interviewed, but they say they're moving because they've raised 5 children and Lansdowne is just a little too big for them now. You think? Oh, and final footnote here, in case you're wondering, the property taxes on this home, $154,000 a year. What's that?
We should buy just to save it from, be civic-minded, save from the developers, right?
Somebody, hopefully, will.
Well, we're getting more snow, but it is time for baseball. Odd combo.
Got that spring feeling, don't we?
Yeah, it happens every year right about now. It's a phrase baseball fans love to hear. Pitchers and catchers report, am I right? We have the Cubs story from Mesa tonight, plus Northwestern visiting Champaign, D. Brown and company trying to avoid their first 3-game losing streak in 4 years.
Fox Chicago News is brought to you by your Chicagoland Dodge dealers.
A ticket to the auto show gets you a glimpse of America's hottest products, but we've got your ticket to ride. At your local Dodge, Chrysler, and Jeep dealers, get behind the wheel of the powerful Dodge Charger, Chrysler 300C, or the all-new Jeep Commander. 0% financing is back. 0% APR financing for 60 months on select vehicles, plus $500 auto show bonus cash, and drive off the lot in a Dodge Durango, Chrysler Town & Country, Dodge Caravan, or Jeep Liberty. Find what you want at the auto show. Drive what you want at your local dealer. But hurry, offer ends soon.
Of all the places we fly around the world, we know one means more to you than any other. We know why you fly. We're American Airlines.
Snow is a beautiful thing. And when you can dash through it without worry, safety is a beautiful thing too. The Volvo XC90 SUV and the all-wheel drive Volvo XC70 cross country. For a limited time, we're making the XC90 and XC70 even more attractive.
Lease a Volvo XC90 2.5T for $399 a month for 24 months.
The best and the brightest are about to meet the blondest.
Your resume is pink.
I think it gives it a little something extra.
Reese Witherspoon is Legally Blonde.
Thursday at 7 on Fox Chicago. You spend your days coordinating logistics, monitoring cash flow, managing commerce, and motivating a less than interested workforce. Fifth Third's E53 checking is for you. Earn interest on your balance and get free internet banking and bill payments. Because you have more important things to worry about, like your nightly dinner meeting.
The father of our country meets the father of all recliners. Lazy Boy Furniture Gallery's National President's Day Sale. Save on the one and only Lazy Boy recliner, starting from $299. Sofas starting from $599. And special order reclining sofas starting from $799. Plus enter to win a complete room makeover. And take advantage of no interest for 3 full years. Sale ends Monday.
The new 265 horsepower Nissan Maxima.
Fox Chicago News is brought to you by Nissan.
The Sammy Hop may be gone forever. I'm Corey McFerrin. Sammy Sosa, former baseball icon, the only hitter ever to record 360 home run seasons, officially turns down a one-year offer from the Washington Nationals today. He's got no place else to go. And his agent, Adam Katz, is not expecting that phone to ring, telling ESPN.com tonight, "I can say with reasonable certainty we've seen Sammy in a baseball uniform for the last time." Now, bottom line, Katz claims Sammy just did not want to take a chance of embarrassing himself again like he did last year in Baltimore. He will retire as the number 5 home run hitter of all time, just 12 bombs shy of the 600 home run plateau. Now, the team Sammy starred for 13 years gathering in Mesa today. The words are almost magical. Pitchers and catchers report. Sounds good to me. Jill Carlson has the story.
Hope springs eternal in spring training. Along with their bags and bats, the Cubs bring optimism that this is their year, or at least a better year than last.
I think we're more of a playoff team than we were last year.
We got a bona fide leadoff man. We have some young players that are ready to play, and we got a much improved and a veteran bullpen that's going to help us out big time.
Injuries plagued the Cubs last year, especially the pitching staff. General Manager Jim Hendry has added more depth during the offseason, and the staff workhorse, Carlos Zambrano, has taken steps to prevent injury by slimming down.
When I have, a lot of weights, my back start bothering me, and that doesn't make me pitch good or go more innings.
The need to win is immediate. Manager Dusty Baker is in the final year of his contract and must produce. And the White Sox winning the World Series title puts even more pressure on a team already feeling the heat.
To say the pressure's on us is taking it really, really lightly, because between the Red Sox and the White Sox winning the last 2 World Series, I think the first time we strike out at home or lose, we're definitely getting booed.
It wasn't too fun for me watching the White Sox win. I know it was fun for my dad, but I would love to play in the postseason. Never had a chance to do that, and definitely that is our goal.
The quest to reach that goal begins with the first workout for pitchers and catchers Thursday in Mesa. Jill Carlson, Fox Chicago News.
Sox report on Friday. In Champaign tonight, Northwestern's top gun, Vedran Vukusic, sidelined with back spasms, but it's no cakewalk for the Illini. That's Vince Scott. Illinois leads by just 3, 48-45. Then it's D. Brown. How do you stop that? You don't. Illini up a play of the night. Brown, long one, won't go, but Brian Randall. Oh, my. You got to love that. Richard McBride leads Illinois with 17. They win 63-47. Elsewhere, UIC over Wisconsin, Milwaukee, 94-86 in OT. Also, this just in, the last couple of minutes, unconfirmed reports that Indiana coach Mike Davis will resign effective at the end of this season. And finally, tickets go on sale Monday for this July's NASCAR stop at the Chicagoland Speedway. And look who's on board to prime the pump.
I'll be gunning for this baby this summer at Chicagoland Speedway.
You're not racing, Mr. Farrell. You're the Grand Marshal.
Grand Marshal. I get the trophy, right?
What?
No, I wasn't kissing the trophy.
At least didn't say my favorite line, which of course would be what?
Corey, you're the greatest.
Exactly.
Or no, what do you think?
You all sat through that whole movie.
Stay classy, Chicago.
Stay. Good night.
Good night.
Closed captioning on Fox Chicago News is brought to you by Luna Carpet.
Act now and get 2 rooms of beautiful carpet for the price of 1.
7-7. But families always get more.
Now families get unlimited messaging to anyone, just $9.99, and the most whenever minutes to share.
T-Mobile, get more.
This is the WB Thursday.